Hello. How is everyone doing today? I certainly hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Today has gone by so fast, just so freaking fast. I can't even believe it's 5:00. This is why I'm in time management and organization, my friends. This is why. When you're not paying attention to the time, it just flies by. Listen, I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. Human Better 365 is the company that I own, and I come on once a day, every day, Monday through Friday, to talk to you about all of the things that they don't tell you in school and in church. So Mondays is my big day. It's called a show called Collect That Money, Honey. It's all about business and finances, which I love. Tuesdays, I come on every single Tuesday on a show called Ain't Nobody Got Time for That, all about time management, organization, and procrastination, which is where I am lacking today. Wednesday, that's today, is my Nation of Diamonds show where I talk to all the females of the world, talking about health, mental, emotional, physical, and relationships. Today, we're going to be talking about codependency, so that should be fun. Thursdays is called Dear Millennial, real talk about breaking cycles, because I believe that is what the millennials of today's age are doing. And I can say that because I am an elder millennial born in 1982, which is literally the cutoff. So I feel like I'm going to talk about that. Fridays, every Friday I come on and I talk to my sober community on a show called Sober Society. And just kind of talking about sparking that joy back into the sober life. A lot of times us sober individuals kind of have a identity of being kind of boring and kind of dull because we're not partying like it's 1999. And that's just not the case. That's not the case. So we break that stereotype on Fridays with Sober Society. So if you guys don't know me, my name is Sabrina Victoria. I own a company called Human Better 365, which is a human transformation company that specializes in time management organization as the foundation of life. Today is Wednesday, so today we are talking to the ladies of the crowd, and of course you men can hang out with me, but we are talking about mental and emotional health, predominantly to the codependents today. If you don't know what codependency is, I feel like you should hang out, because it definitely is something that many of us deal with in one way or another. So it might be a good way for you to educate yourself, or maybe even have a little insight on some of your friends where you're kind of thinking, oh my, it's a little emotional going on over there. A lot of times that has to do with codependency. So it might give you some insight on yourself, and it may give you some insight on people in and around your arena. And maybe this podcast was plopped down in front of you so you can educate them. So listen, codependency. There's going to be an awesome exercise, by the way, towards the end of this that I'm going to give everyone here. So if you have a pen and paper, as usual with my podcast, it's always beneficial to have a pen and paper handy while you're hanging out with me, because there is always stuff to learn here. Today, I want to talk about needs and wants. Needs and wants within the codependent arena. And the reason I want to talk about that is because needs and wants are something that don't seem to be in existence in the world of codependency. Individuals who are codependent many times do not believe that they are important enough to get our needs, and even further away, our wants met. So many times we repress all of those feelings and have a tendency of putting all the people around us first. So if you know of anybody, or you yourself are somebody who tends to kind of shove all of your needs to one side and kind of like stuff it inside of a closet, and you don't even want to look at it, more so talk about it. And you often maybe find yourself diving into other people's issues or struggles in order to kind of not have to talk about your own stuff. Then you might be a codependent. You might be a codependent. So, I'm here to talk about our needs and our wants, and how important it is to, yes, get our needs met, but how important it is to reach up and to start setting goals for those things that we want in our life. So it's not just about leading a mediocre life and just like, ooh, I guess I will take these little crumbs that were given to me. This is all I need to be able to barely survive on planet Earth, but actually reaching up and insisting that we acquire the life that we want. So a lot of this starts with self-care. It's doing what's necessary to live responsibly. And I want you to really think about this for a moment. When we are working on our self-care and we are working on living responsibly, this does not mean living excessively responsible. So this does not mean going above and beyond to win the trophy and responsibility. That's too much. It also doesn't mean to be overly irresponsible. Okay, so it's really that nice middle line of stepping out into the world, dreaming big, making plans, having a focus, taking steps towards a focus or a goal that we're looking to accomplish, creating a life or a vision for ourselves, and taking the steps towards that in order to create that for ourselves. So it's really recognizing things that are needed for ourselves to take care of ourselves. And that could be as simple as, do you need to make an appointment to go to the doctor? Have you been putting that off because you're making sure that everybody in the house goes to the doctor or goes to the dentist? Have you been ignoring yourself because you have so many other things to take care of with all of the other people that there's no time for you? Are you putting yourself last and not going to the doctor? See, this is many times what causes crazy diagnoses that are irreversible because not going to the doctor soon enough. So have you been procrastinating going to the doctor because you are putting every other person in front of you? This could be making plans for the family. Maybe you haven't hung out as a family in a while. Maybe you have older children, or maybe you have younger children and it's just so chaotic that it's just, you can barely put dinner on the table. So maybe making a family trip or a family to go to the park and have a picnic, whatever that looks like for you. Is that something that could fulfill some sort of self-care for you? It could be reanalyzing your boundaries. So individuals who are coming into your life, whether it be spouses or parents or siblings, aunts, uncles, coworkers, bosses, who are crossing the boundaries. Do you need to reestablish some boundaries? Do you need to reevaluate your boundaries because maybe they weren't set strict enough? So do you maybe need to have a conversation with said people on where your new boundaries are set and why you are creating new boundaries? Maybe dealing with your feelings, some feelings that are coming up, maybe some triggers that are happening. Have you taken some time to sit down with yourself and actually analyze that? I've talked previous podcasts about how important it is to be sitting down in silence and allowing our mind, allowing our brain to be able to speak to us and tell us what's going on. So many times we're bombarded with so many things between social media and emails and the TV and the computer, podcasts like this, constantly spewing information at us. And then us never having any silent moments to be able to ask ourselves, hey, what's going on with me? So do you need to slow down? Do you need to take some time away? Do you need to deal with your feelings? It could be something like getting a new job. Maybe your job right now is toxic environment. I've been in that environment. It's time. It is time consuming, yes, but it's also emotionally and mentally draining, so much so that you can't even function sometimes when you get home because you're still carrying it with you. The heaviness of that is being pulled from you. So that would have a lot to do with self-care. Making sure that you're in a correct, healthy work environment. And if you're not, and if you're thinking to yourself, I can't leave my job, I'm trying to make rent. Have you made the plans? Have you created a resume? Have you been looking to be able to pull yourself out of that toxic work environment? Or are you just sitting around complaining about it? Or are you sitting around not complaining about it, or maybe complaining about it, but helping other people get jobs? For some of us that have adult-ish children, sometimes we take on the responsibility of making sure they are looking for jobs and helping them with their resume and helping them get all of their stuff done. But then we ourselves are not happy with the position that we're in. It's very important to register the difference between selfishness and selflessness, and really finding that happy median in there and making sure that we are being somewhat selfish with our time and taking care of ourselves. Because if we are not our best selves, it is absolutely impossible to be our best selves for the people in and amongst us, with our family and our community. Self-love or self-care could even just be taking a nap. It could be getting a divorce. That could be self-care. So really having an inner log, a conversation with yourself as to what is needed. It's very important. You know, this word self-care is really being thrown around a lot. Many times people view that as going to get a massage or going to get your nails done. And that's just not the case. Self-care has absolutely nothing to do with anything that costs money. Self-care is about your mental health, your emotional health, and your inner dialogue. What is happening internally? It's very important to become our own personal counselor, our own partner, our own best friend. We are with ourselves 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Doesn't matter where you are. Anywhere you go, there you are. You take yourself on vacation, there you are. You go to work, there you are. You're making dinner, there you are. Everywhere you go. And if you don't like yourself, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you are not satisfied with the way that you look physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, it's time to take a really hard look in the mirror and recognize that you and only you have control over your life. It's about time to start eliminating some of those shoulds. There's a lot of shoulds when you're a codependent. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. There's a lot of guilt sometimes that hangs out on our shoulders as far as all of the things that we feel like we should be doing. And a lot of times those shoulds are things that have nothing to do with us. Absolutely nothing to do with us. So we're sitting around saying, oh, I should do this for this person, or I should do this for that person. And a lot of times, all of those shoulds have nothing to do with actually helping ourselves and helping our own self-care. So it's really important to watch those shoulds. Whenever you find yourself saying, I should, we should, it's really important to take a little extra look at that under a microscope and ask yourself, really? Really? Do a little double take on that. So codependents love getting involved in other people's ideas, other people's thoughts, other people's struggles. And the reason why is because it takes all of the focus or all of the pressure off of their own life. And a lot of this is because they have their own fears. They have their own fear of failure. They have their own fear of success. They have their own perfectionisms that they're trying to ignore in life. So they would rather put the spotlight on somebody else rather the spotlight on themselves. So they love distracting themselves, and they will use anything, it does not matter, to distract themselves from really doing the inner work with themselves. When in actuality, codependence, the number one thing that an individual who has codependent tendencies should be doing is doing some inner work. And that is what I call inner child work, or inner child healing, or healing the inner child. And this is something that I do a lot with my coaching, is helping individuals really take a look inside as to why they are insistent on creating time and putting a lot of energy and focus onto other people's issues, their spouses, their children, their parents, their friends, and putting very little time, energy, or focus into themselves. And a lot of times this happens because of wounds that have happened early on in their life, wounds that have happened in childhood, between family members, between caregivers, guardians, society, culturally, friends, that have hurt us as children. And until we actually do some work, and actually dissect what that means and what sort of wounds were that happened when we were younger, it's really difficult to kind of move out of that codependent arena and into a healthier emotional and mental state of mind. So if you find yourself blaming others for circumstances, such as if you have this constant inner dialogue of, I would be this if, or they're making me do this, or the reason I am the way I am is because of this, or look at all the time that I am wasting on this or this or this, and I have no time for myself because of this and this and this. However, that inner dialogue, if you really are honest with yourself, is a consistent inner dialogue that you've had for years and years of this inner dialogue, where you continue to say, I would have if so and so. And if you find yourself continuously blaming other things or other circumstances on the fact that you haven't gotten to where you want to get to, and it's falling back on somebody else, that is a very, very harsh telltale that you have some inner child wounds that you are dealing with. And instead of confronting those wounds, instead of having that conversation with yourself, you've taught yourself for years and years and years to repress those feelings, to sit on those feelings. And that can become incredibly harmful for yourself, mentally, emotionally, and for your future. So take a moment and sit down and think about, what are you envisioning for yourself, and why are you not there yet? Who's holding you back? Who are you blaming? And why are you blaming? And recognize that one of the traits of a codependent many times is not looking in at themselves and taking time, wasting time on other people's struggles and challenges. So I'm telling you right now that if this kind of is ringing true to you, if you're seeing this in somebody else, if you're seeing this in yourself, this is a sign right here to take a hard look in the mirror and realize that a lot of times we're using other people as our excuses as to why we haven't gotten to where we want to be. So I want to talk about this coaching that I'm doing right now. It's 4 sessions. We can freaking get this taken care of so quickly for you, where you will literally be viewing life and seeing life through a brand new set of eyes. I want you to check it out. It's in the description below this video. Click it, check it out, screenshot this, save this URL right here, and take a look at the offer. It has a great list of all of the things that you should be looking at as far as if you are having trouble in this arena, how you know you are having trouble in this arena, and what I can do to help you. But if you're looking around at your life and it is painful, it doesn't have to be painful. Our futures are not as bleak as some of us might think that they are. So it's time for us to take care of ourselves. It's time for us to change our attitude for ourselves. It's time for us to realize that we are responsible for ourselves. You are responsible for yourself. You are responsible if you decide not to be the lead in your life. You are responsible if you decide to go in one direction or the other. You are responsible for identifying and meeting your own needs. You are responsible for solving problems. You are also responsible for learning to live with the problems that you cannot solve. I remember that because of this codependency, I was actually stuck in a very narcissistically abusive relationship for over a decade of my life. And I literally felt as if there was no way out. No way out. He controlled all of the money. He had all of the power. And I literally was sitting here just thinking and crying and just debating in my life as like, I am stuck. I am stuck in this prison forever. There's absolutely no way that I could possibly get out of this prison. Feeling this constant nagging of it's all his fault. And if it weren't for him, I would have, or I could have, or I should have. A constant blaming him of my life would be different if. And what I really had to do is take a really hard look in the mirror and recognize that I am the only one that is responsible for my problems. And yes, was I trapped? Yes. Did he have all the money? Yes. Did he have all the power? Yes. However, could I figure out a way out? I don't know. But the only way I was able to really start navigating that was to start to question it. What if? What if I could get out? What if I could get money? What if I could get some power? And I started to be responsible for my choices. I started to be responsible for what I decided. I started to be responsible for setting goals. I started to become responsible for accomplishing those. I started to become responsible for the joy that I was deciding to see in my life instead of looking around and saying to myself, woe is me. My life is in shambles. Woe is me. There's no way out. I decided to wake up happy. I decided to create a plan. I decided to create wants. What did I want? Not what did I need? He was feeding me. He had a roof over my head. All of my needs were met, but what about my wants? I wanted a healthy relationship. I wanted to feel free. I wanted my own money. I didn't want to be berated. I didn't want to be blamed. I didn't want to be sexually assaulted often. I didn't want to be verbally abused. I didn't want to be mentally abused. What did I want? And I was responsible for that. I was responsible for figuring out what I wanted, figuring out what I desired, and then taking the little baby steps to get out. It took me 4 years. 4 years to escape my relationship. And I decided how I was going to receive love and how I was going to give love. And I decided that the way that I was getting it at that moment and the way that I was giving it at that moment was not true to who I was. And I had to figure out a way out. And I would love to tell you that story. And I will tell you that story when you sign up for this program. yes.humanbetter365.com/child. yes.humanbetter365.com/child. The story is insane. It took me 4 years. I was able to collect $50,000 under the table secretly to be able to escape that relationship, to escape that codependent relationship that had me handcuffed to the bed, to the post, to the house, to the job, to the relationship. So do you value your wants and needs? Are you going to continue to tolerate the abuse that you have in and amongst your world, whether it's with a partner, whether it's with your parents, with your children, with your boss, with your coworkers, with your friends? I've had so many toxic friends. But once you open your eyes to healing your inner child, doing the work with somebody who has already done it, somebody who gets it, somebody who's on the other side, somebody who's offering a hand up, I want you to start asserting better boundaries in your life and recognize that others do not have a right to impose on you. Okay, so this is my exercise for you. First of all, check out the link. Okay, yes.humanbetter365.com/child. But this is the exercise, and the link is in the description. The exercise is 1. I want you to write this down by this time. It's been 27 minutes. You should have a piece of paper and a pen by this time. I want you to write down, what do you need from you? You are your own best friend. What do you need from you? Really sit and think about this. What do you need from you? What type of relationship do you want? What type of feelings do you want? How do you want to stand? How do you want to look? How do you want to feel? How do you want to be in this world? What do you need from you? Number 1. Number 2, what do you need from those around you? What do you need from those around you? Once you can really start to dissect, once you can really start to describe, once you can really start to communicate in words, on paper, what you need from you and what you need from other people, that is an amazing first step into having an actual conversation with yourself and to actually recognize where you are mentally and emotionally as far as being codependent. So again, before I close up here, check out the link below. I would love to work with you. I am somebody who has done it. Believe me, I have done the work, and you will be in amazing hands. I would love to work with you. If you have any questions, reach out to me in my direct messages. I am on all the social medias under Sabrina Victoria. Feel free to look me up. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to inquire. I am always here for you, and I would love to work with you. So check out the link, hit the description, or hit the link, read the description, and I hope to see you on the other side starting your first coaching session